It's 2 a.m. I'm incredibly rich. Who is this?
Donald, it's your commander-in-chief. I've come across some disturbing information.
I'm listening.
It's regarding your aggressive spending. Frankly, it's unwarranted and inappropriate.
Look, Barack, I'm a businessman and I'm rich. Certainly rich enough to spend any way I see fit.
Now, listen here. It's week 1 of the fantasy playoffs, and your team didn't make it. You have no business throwing your waiver budget around on valuable free agents.
Does anybody in the league really think there's a chance that I don't take this thing all the way? Let's talk numbers here. My team is going to be huge.
You're out, Trump. Eliminated. You literally cannot win. Who on earth thinks you still have a chance?
Gene Simmons from Kiss, Dennis Rodman, Tom Brady before I said that thing about all the Muslims. Need I continue?
Wait. I got Jerry on the other line. Jerry?
Commissioner, how do I change my profile picture for my team?
It's week 14. Why do you need to change it now?
Johnny Football, a halo, and a stack of money.
Jerry?
Can you make that happen for me in Microsoft Paint?
I gotta call you back. That was Jerry. I think he might have been drinking.
Barry, I've said this once and I'll say it again. There's only room for one rich bigot with championship caliber hair in this league.
Your hair needs to stop handcuffing my running backs.
I'm here for one reason, Barry, and that's to make this league great again. Call it the Trump Amendment. Gotta go. I have an appointment with a spray tan. I'm hanging up. Click, click.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Howard Coward for box score.
Hello and welcome to the Box Score. I'm Brock in Los Angeles, joined by the Danettes in New York City. Guys, a huge weekend, so let's get right to it. If you were under a rock, you probably missed the fact that Derrick Henry won the Heisman. Of course, if you were sleeping off a pub crawl, you probably missed the DP show and saw that he was actually in studio. Paulie, you've seen tons of these guys in person. You seem genuinely impressed about how big he is.
Well, for the position, we've seen some athletes before, and whenever you see an athlete, one of the first things people like us do, people in the media, especially we're non-beat guys, we don't see him every day, is go, he's bigger than I thought, he's smaller than I thought, he's this. I remember Jameis Winston, wow, that's a big dude, and Marcus Mariota, we're like, he's kind of thin. Yeah. We always do it, no matter, especially college athletes, which we're not used to, because it's also that draft mentality, everyone thinking of them on the next level. So I think we all expected him to be gigantic, and he was tall, but not as thick as we thought. But let me tell you something, the thought of tackling that guy is as scary as it gets. And I'm telling you, he makes Adrian Peterson look small.
A lot of people have trouble with that guy. All right, well, we all got to see Henry play in Alabama, but Dan got him to talk about how dominant he was as a senior in high school.
My senior year, that season, I rushed for like 4,000 yards and 55 touchdowns, 57 touchdowns.
Who are you playing against that you get 55 touchdowns? Did the teams look like this group over here, my guys? Is that who you're playing against?
I mean, it wasn't that big of a guy. I was just bigger than everybody. In high school, that's how it usually goes. You got a good athlete, you're always bigger than everybody and things like that. But I had a great team. We played against some good teams, too.
Most yards you rushed for in one game?
510.
Come on.
I was cracking up. I think we all were. Those kind of numbers that he was throwing out there, I can't even fathom that. We've all seen our share of high school games, and you might see someone that looks a little better or even a lot better than the others, but that's just a whole other galaxy of numbers to put up those kind of numbers or rushing yards or touchdowns. It's like video game numbers, and it would have been very entertaining to actually be at one of his high school games to see him totally dominate. And it sounded like he was running for 50, 60, 70 yards and a touchdown almost every time the ball was handed to him.
I mean, 500 yards in the game, that's insane. Well, a guy who's put up some insane numbers himself is Russell Wilson today, and he called in and talked about his long throws and who could throw farther than anyone he's ever seen.
Probably Jamarcus Russell. I remember going to Peyton Manning's camp when I was in 10th grade, and they had a throwing contest, and Jamarcus Russell threw it from his knees, from the minus 40, all the way through the middle of the goalpost.
Oh my God!
It was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
So he
could throw it 85, 90 yards probably.
There's actually not a lot of need to throw it from your knees in the NFL, but it will get you drafted because Jamarcus Russell went number 1 and Kyle Bowler went really high because he threw the ball 50 yards off his knees. When you think about it, Russell Wilson and Jamarcus, two people have never had more opposite careers.
Right.
One a first-round pick who's 6'7", the other a 6'1", whatever.
But isn't it the best?
Third-round pick.
What I love about a great guest is when they tell us a specific story.
Yeah.
That's I think what we really want with any interview is like, who's the best thrower? Because, well, Brett Favre is probably the best thrower. Yeah. That gives us nothing. But when you tell a specific story, and it can be almost anything, But that Jamarcus Russell story, I'll remember forever. And it'll probably get a lot of play. It'll probably be in Sports Illustrated in one of those like tidbits or something.
Like when you say forever, like on your deathbed?
I will.
What stood out to me for some reason is that he referred to it as the -40.
Yes.
Which is something that I've never heard that before, but I'm not a football player. But it immediately put you where he was on the field, where you're like the -4. Oh, I get it. So he's on the far side of it, throwing this way. You know, it was just a small little detail that for some reason really stuck with me. Oh, the -40. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, Paulie, anyone that heard that interview came away with one thing, and that's that you and Russell Wilson are besties. How did the friendship come about, and what about Landon? Is there enough Paps to go around?
Wow, that's a great question. Now you got me really torn here. In all seriousness, I got to go to a Wisconsin game, and I got to go to the walkthrough with some guys like Kirk Herbstreit was there, and you know when Kirk walks in, anyone can walk in. We walked in with him. We're watching the walkthrough, and a guy named Nate Tice was the backup quarterback. His dad is Mike Tice, and he comes walking over, kind of as their practice ended, the Wisconsin practice ended. And he goes, "Hey, you're from the Dan Patrick Show." And he goes, "I'm Nate Tice, I'm the backup quarterback." Where's McLovin? Where's Fritzy? Where's Seton? Where's Dan? I said, "Well, they didn't come." And the first thing you get is, "Oh, great." And then he goes, "We watch your show all the time. My roommate and I watch your show all the time." I go, "Who's your roommate?" He goes, "Oh, it's Russell." And I knew Russell, but he wasn't a household name yet. Yeah. And he comes walking over, he goes, "Dude." And I was like, I'm being punked because we don't get that kind of reaction. Dan gets that kind of reaction. And like we watch all the time. We love Against the Grain. We love when you guys do this and this. And that's how it started. And I remember that day, Russell goes, "How do I get on the Dan Patrick Show?" And I said, beat Nebraska, you're on Monday.
Was he a lot different then? Was there anything like,
well, I mean, he's a college kid. He's 21 years old.
Yeah.
But no, he was very polished and very confident. But he actually said, he goes, if I beat Nebraska, I'm on Monday. I said, yeah, and if you beat Nebraska, and afterwards, can you say our passion bucket? Or drop a passion bucket line or something like that. And he ended up doing it so cool. With Fowler and those guys. And he's been a guest ever since.
Wow.
He's a great, great guest and a great gal pal, Sierra. All right, stay with us. It's Christmas time, and Drunk Uncle is dropping by. Hey, you want to take Drunk Uncle home? Throw him in the bed of the Ram 1500 Eco Diesel. Climbing hills, hauling trailers, and this will make your uncle forget about all those trucks in the good old days. Get more facts at ramtrucks.com. Guts, glory, Ram.
This is the Dan Patrick Show because everyone loves sports. I went to a football game once, and now I'm not allowed back in the stadium.
Welcome back to the Box Score. Guys, today SNL's Bobby Moynihan dropped by the show today. Dropped a drunk uncle or two and debated Star Wars with McLovin. Fritzy, out of all the SNL players, past or present, who do you want in studio the most?
Wow. Eddie Murphy probably comes to mind, but, you know, even I guess, you know what, even ahead of Eddie Murphy, I'd probably go with Bill Murray or Belushi, just from that original group.
Belushi would be tough.
As far as past or present or anyone that's alive or
not much tougher than Eddie Murphy, by the way. They're about equal tough.
I think it's equal, the percentage chance of getting Eddie Murphy or John Belushi.
Eddie Murphy doesn't do interviews.
Oh, did you mean Jim Belushi?
I mean, John. He said past or present, so if it's have to be someone alive, then I'd probably.
We've already asked every question there is to Dan Aykroyd about SNL. You've already exhausted.
Wow. That's true. At that dinner, he probably heard
that was great.
We had dinner with Dan Aykroyd and Fritzy.
We had dinner amongst Dan Aykroyd.
In Toronto. Fritzy had dinner.
On the same table.
No.
Yes.
Fritzy had dinner with Dan Aykroyd because if you talk to a guy for 20 minutes straight, you've had dinner with him.
I'd like to see what was making John Belushi tick out of all of them. I think you have to pick someone from that original cast, and there's something about Belushi and all the different characters he did that I think I.
Would you guys rather have Chevy Chase for a half an hour or Bill Murray for a half an hour?
Bill Murray.
I think Bill Murray's all-time for almost any guest.
Absolutely, Bill Murray.
Does Chevy Chase do interviews still? I know he's a famous.
I heard him do Howard Stern 4 years ago for an hour.
After they had criticized him for years.
Yeah,
right?
but it was fascinating.
Yeah, that's tough. I think Bill Murray would be a lot more fun. Although I don't know, you guys have had Bill Murray on. Was he a fun guest or was
awesome.
he? He was.
Yeah.
He's hysterical.
One time he called in, and I was doing the Dan Patrick Show, and hotline rings. Hey, Dan Patrick Show or whatever. He goes, yeah, hey, what's up? It's Bill. Is Dan around? And I was like, hey, Bill. Okay, I'm not really. He's kind of doing the show right now. And it took me about like 3 minutes of talking to him where he got really annoyed. And he goes, and I was like, I'm sorry, Bill, can I get your last name? And he's like, Bill Murray. And he was like so annoyed with me, and I'm like, I don't randomly pick up the phone and be like, hey, Bill. Oh, of course it's Bill Murray.
Right.
Like, why wouldn't I?
Yeah, you can't blame you on that one because who would ever expect that?
He was so annoyed though, where I was just like, does somebody have like waiting for a call here? I had no idea what I was doing.
But it was funny how annoyed he is because he's just that funny. Moynihan talked about writing today and the eventual times that his sketches get cut from the show.
It used to be worse. It used to be soul crush. I mean, like now, just this season for me has been wonderful because that part of it is kind of gone. Like I think I was waiting for that part to waiting to feel that part, but now it's all of a sudden happening where it's like, hey, we're cutting this down, like we're cutting this sketch in half. Like that's a lot of stuff. It's like you work all week on something and then because of timing on the show, like it'll just get cut in half. And that used to kill me. And now I'm like, great, sweet, yeah, cut it. Let's get out there and get it done quick.
I find the process of Saturday Night Live much more interesting than the actual show of Saturday Night Live. Every time we have a guest on, it's the process that's what I want to talk about. When we've had Spade on, Spade talks about like his first year. He would write and no one would even look at him. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't even read his stuff at the read-throughs or whatever they call them. And so I find the process fascinating. And I can't imagine, it must be like a comedy boot camp where people talk fondly about it when it's in the rearview mirror. Whenever we have a Will Ferrell, he goes, oh, those are great times. But rarely does a person say during it, it's great times. It's more like, this is a grind.
Yeah. And imagine being in that room and everyone's pitching ideas and stuff like that. And I'd be curious to see who's supportive or tries to make something that even if they don't think it's that funny, maybe they bring ideas to try to salvage it. And who's just kind of sitting there just ripping everybody apart. And just
who sabotages other people's sketches.
Right.
Like, it must be a war. I've read a lot on Saturday Night Live. I read James Andrew Miller's book again recently. It's a great book.
Great.
And it is a war in the writer's room.
Spade gives us probably the most real talk about it because he's confident, not scared. But he even talks. Remember he told us about Farley? He goes, at the end, Farley never wrote. He was a performer.
Yeah.
And people would write for Farley because
he said everybody wanted to write for Farley.
Right. I mean, he had the best job on the show. He didn't have to get the rejection of the writing, and he got all the best material.
I've heard Spade say Farley never could write. His sketches were never good. He would just like,
he said it here.
They'd be sitting there writing, and he'd put on the little coat, and he'd be like, they'd be writing, and he'd turn around, fat guy in a little coat.
It goes back to some people are performers, some are writers, and some are hybrids. I remember one time someone was critiquing Garth Brooks, the country thing, like, well, he doesn't write any of his own songs. And Garth Brooks goes, yeah, I'm not a writer. He goes, I'm a performer. He goes, I'm a singer. He goes, I picked the best songs that I think will be good for my voice and everything. And he goes, I don't write songs. He goes, that's for someone else to do.
That was Chris Gaines who was writing all those songs, by the way. All right, another comedy Pro Bowler dropped by the studio today, Bill Burr. And Dan put him on the spot and made him choose between his all-time favorites.
If I said Brady or Bird?
Larry Bird.
Oh.
Larry Bird, without a doubt.
What about Don Rickles or Larry Bird?
Oh, Don Rickles.
Really?
Hell yeah. Don Rickles hung out with Sinatra.
You got
Come
one
on.
question to ask Don Rickles.
Who killed Kennedy?
You think he knows?
Well, yeah. Well, he hung out with Sinatra. I figure 6 degrees of separation. He probably knows. Yeah, why not?
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, I would think that Don Rickles, I assume he met Don Rickles, but I guess not. But when you put the history on it, I love this, from seeing a lot of movies, the tie between comedy and organized crime is hysterical. I think of in Goodfellas when it was the actual live Henny Youngman was up there. Take my wife, please take her.
Yeah.
That is cool. That's like a romantic era. Like I don't think that really happens anymore, does it?
But don't you mind? The other thing I find fascinating is when the comedian's on, he had the best possible line you could have had there. If you give me a month, I don't think I could write, or any of us could write a better line than he did off the top of his head. Who killed JFK? I mean, it's so next level than traditional comedy. Steve and I were you saw us, I'm like, oh my God, how does someone do that? I mean, I respect more than athletic ability. The ability to make people laugh.
Me too.
There's nothing tougher, even more than musical ability. Music, if you write one song, you play it over and over. This guy can't
really do the same joke over and over.
Not really.
Yeah, you had a diverse crowd in today. Fritzy, who do you like having in studio? Musicians, comedians, or athletes the most?
I would say comedians for the same reasons that Paulie just mentioned. There's something extra special about making someone, or a diverse group of people laugh, regardless of your religion or ethnicity or age. And we've gotten some compliments on it to a much smaller scale. But when we've gone to like meet and greets around the country, when people, man, woman, boy, girl, regardless of your ethnic group, age, whatever, telling us that how much they enjoy the show and find what we have to find us funny or whatever it is. I think there's something special today. Athletes, they're most of the guests we have on are athletes, and that's great. And we sprinkle in some musicians and people of that nature. But again, there's something about a comedian that can come up with something that can make everybody laugh hysterically, and then just when you're getting control of your laughing, they hit you with another one, and then it's just food and drink are coming out your nose and everything. That's something special.
Well done on the guest list today, Fritzy. Golf clap for you. All right, stick around. It is the Battle of New York for New York. Hey, welcome back to the Box Score. Hey, this weekend, Bubba Watson hit a hole-in-one. Abby Wambach played her last game for Team USA. You didn't know that? That's okay. That's why we're here. We got you covered with this edition of
Mock Headline Battle Royale.
Equal exchange here. I give you a headline, you give me a mock headline. First headline, the Milwaukee Bucks stopped the Golden State Warriors' win streak at 24 games. Let's start in the back row with McLovin.
Bear with me on this one. The buck stops here. And by the buck, I mean the Warriors' win streak, which really doesn't make much sense.
Everyone uses that headline.
The crowd loves Truman. All right, front row and Paulie.
Bucks to be you. Golden State loses in Milwaukee. Bucks to be you. Got a head nod from the cameraman.
Fritzy, what do you got?
I had the Bucks stop here. No, the Warriors stop here. Jason Kidd. Hello, anybody?
Which did you have?
I had all of it.
And finally, Seton's headline, please.
The Bucks stop here.
Nice, Seton. Nice.
Just like match game.
But the Warriors are the ones that stop.
Except the Warriors one, yeah, but we've covered that several times.
Definite match game moment.
All right, using his energy against him. Second headline, Andy Dalton will miss at least a week after breaking bone in his throwing hand. Let's start with Paulie.
The Andy Misseth Show. Bengals may barely make the playoffs.
Wow.
Andy Misseth.
Oh, like Andy Griffith.
The Andy Misseth Show.
Yeah. Fritzy.
Breaking sad. Bungles have built an excuse when they exit in first round of playoffs again.
Breaking sad.
Breaking sad.
So sad. He broke.
Pessimistic, though.
All right. Seton, your headline, please.
Man, the Bengals can't catch a break. Or apparently they can.
Nah.
And finally, McLovin.
Deadhead. Bengals dead without redhead. Said Fred.
That was my backup headline, by the way.
Deadhead. Dead.
Battle for the belt.
Our third headline.
Battle for the belt is on.
Conor McGregor knocks out Jose Aldo in 13 seconds for UFC featherweight title. Fritzy, let's start with you.
Jose, can you... What? Fight's over already? You can knock him over with a featherweight.
Ooh. That's little tidbits in that. Seton, your headline.
Looks like someone better go back to their day job selling shoes.
He does? He sells shoes?
Aldo, yeah. I did Aldo, yeah.
Aldo. In the mall. Go to Aldo.
McLovin, what do you got?
So stupid.
Hush puppy.
You just wrote out a new one, didn't you?
Hush puppy.
No. John Conor McGregor. He'll be back after a tough loss in UFC fight. I don't know.
He didn't lose, though.
McGregor won.
The Terminator? Does anyone call him the Terminator?
All right, so Paulie.
Can I give nothing and win this round?
Yeah.
Jose, can you see the canvas after you got knocked the F out? Jose, can you see the canvas?
This comes in a size 13. Finally, our last headline. Patrick Kane's point streak reaches 26 straight games with an assist against the Canucks. Front row Seton.
Apparently Kane is able.
Get biblical. Get biblical.
Who saw that coming?
Fritzy.
I went with the Big Daddy Kane. When will this guy take a point break? Point break? We just made a sequel. Take a break from scoring a point.
You worked in two references.
Back off, War Child. Paulie.
Kane is able to kick your ass.
Boom!
We saw that coming.
version.
Kane is able. No one knew that before.
The EP.
Except for me.
And finally, McLovin.
Oh boy. Kane is able to score a point in 26 straight games, according to this story.
I think you won that round.
It was the best Kane is able headline.
I like that we started with the same headline and ended with the same headline.
And the winner is Paulie. Congratulations.
Wow. By default.
Yes.
By default.
It's the first name he could think of. Who are these guys again?
The camera was pointed at me.
Paulie!
He didn't want to make the camera.
Yes, don't go away. We have a distraught youngster on our hands. But first, this is the box score. We are taking a break to remind you that the Ram Heavy Duty, with its best-in-class towing, torque, and horsepower, is never distraught. Sometimes it gets a little stressed out, but it's holiday time. What do you want from it? Get more facts, ramtrucks.com. Guts, glory, Ram.
Give us an idea of what it's like at the household when the Broncos are losing.
I don't understand what's going on here. There was holding. Jordan, there's like 13 minutes and 12 seconds left in the first quarter. You got to pace yourself. This is going to be crazy. But then he called me at halftime. 4 field goals? 4, not one. It should be 20-0. It's 12-0. They're going to score 2 touchdowns. We're going to lose 14-12. But Jordan, there's still a whole second half left. Just kind of. What kid? They forgot how to catch the ball. Demarius, Vernon Davis. They were going to be 40 away. They would have took. Why did he drop that?
Oh, we are closing up shop here in the box score. It looks like Todd Son may have a case of the nervous Fritzies. McLovin, hearing Todd impersonate his son, do we have a clearer picture of what Todd was like as a kid?
Todd was like as a kid? The reason he could do the impersonation is because Todd is exactly like that now.
Tapping into my days.
I don't think you're not that much different, dude.
No, I get dressed up in, like, I'll put on Bronco shirts and hats. And
now, are you standing over him with a horse head on saying, hey, you really have to act your age?
Chill out. It's not that.
You say act your age?
I probably have done that. I don't know if I said that exactly. I'll say something similar along those lines.
But why would he?
Fritzy Darko.
I guess, it's kind of do as I say, not as I do. But that's the role model of, walking around with a horse head and orange and blue and Bronco stuff all over the place. I don't know how, and screaming and crying and yelling and throwing things. I created a monster, and I'm more to be pitied than blamed at this point.
Yeah, it's like a furry convention or something. See, you've mentioned your son is starting to get into the Patriots games. Are you encouraging this, or are you trying to, whoa him back?
No, actually, it's kind of funny that I had the same conversation with my son, who's 5, where I said, "Buddy, it's okay." Like, he was crying, like, "Daddy, I wanna cut my hair to be like Tom Brady, so that I can play for the kids' Patriots and he can play for the adult Patriots, so I can help them win." And he was sobbing when they lost. "I liked it better when they were undefeated." And I'm like, "Buddy, just don't worry about it. It's just a game, okay? Tom Brady's gonna be fine. The Patriots can still win. They can still play. It's not like they can't play anymore. Don't worry about it."
Did you show him pictures of long-haired Tom to dissuade him from cutting his hair? Because Tom had some good hair back in the day.
Yeah, he did. I've showed him some long hair Edelman, too. Edelman had a pretty solid mane going there.
What if your son said he wanted to get a crew cut?
Yeah, he can do whatever he wants. I don't care. Yeah, I'm not making him keep his long hair. Like, he wants his long hair. It's got nothing to do with me. I would have cut it already. But he's just like, no way, man. My hair.
Paulie and McLovin, you both have multiple daughters in the lineup. What is their fandom like?
I don't think my daughter's a huge fan of anything. She doesn't like One Direction or anything. She's almost 7, so I think it's going to change soon.
Oh, Paul, you haven't gotten the. I was sitting around the other day and I hear, "I'm never, never, never gonna get back together." And that's my 3-year-old who is quoting my 5-year-old who sings Taylor Swift 24/7. Sports mean nothing to them.
You're right. Sports mean nothing. My daughter can sing Taylor Swift songs a little bit, but she doesn't get passionate about anything. Kind of like her dad. Anything too much, she kind of is chill about stuff. I don't know. Maybe it'll change quick.
Oh my God! My girls, once they're into something, forget it. It's like Fancy Nancy, American Girl doll, you name it. Yeah. If it costs me money, they're into it.
Yeah, that's true.
Those American Girl dolls, I hear they are very expensive. Fritzy, who's on tomorrow?
A scam.
Yeah.
Darrelle Revis, Jets cornerback, and Reggie Miller.
You're growing your hair out, Fritzy. It looks great. We are back tomorrow right here on Audience Channel 239. The podcast available on, what's that, iTunes or at podcastone.com. Cheers.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Hey, thanks for watching the box score. Holy cow!